recording has begun.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. Guess we do pledge allegiance first. We do that.
It's not on our agenda, but standardly at our town council meetings, we do.
Yeah, let's
So,
do that.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
Visible with liberty and justice for all.
So next time we all mute our microphones.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for making it out here. The weather was very iffy. We were trying to talk about a strategy for what to do at the meeting. I wonder if is Tony online? I know some folks were very concerned about traveling and whatnot, and in fact, Mary Beth, I thought for sure you'd call in, but I'm glad to see you here. But it's so hard to schedule people and hold a day, and I thought it would be easier if we could find a way to. So we did this hybrid approach with folks online in the meeting. So hopefully this will work, and we'll be able to have a decent meeting and move along. There's a lot on the agenda. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. We're going to talk about one of the train items first. So Mr. Gardner can make a escape here. We'll let you go first to talk about. We have a couple questions for you. One is related to the paint on the caboose that's peeling off. I don't know if you saw it on the far side of the caboose. The paint is just sloughing off. It's they couldn't even put the new numbers on there because the paint is so bad. So I know we had somebody paint it not that long ago, and I don't know what we need to have it fixed, number one. And I don't know if the people who painted it stand behind their work or not, but something needs to be done to clean that up. And then I don't know where we are on the repairs to the caboose from when they broke in. The door got kicked in, and I know we have a temporary fix on there, and it's good for now, but I didn't know if it's got to be painted and stuff like that. So just want to check with you, see what we need to do to make those things happen and how we can help.
Okay, I'll start with the where they broke in. Okay. Actually broke in the door, and then also they broke into the east side window on top side at the cupola on top. I had that repaired and replaced the plexiglass that was in there and the framework onto it, and we secured that. So those 6 or 8 windows that are up there are actually designed to slide. Okay, but I've screwed them so that so there's a ladder they can, anybody can go up on the east side on that end of it and could go right there, and they would slide it up and go inside. So we repaired the window. I had that repaired, and also had the put a new frame on it and screwed it so you can't open it anymore. The locking mechanism on the west side, the main entrance to it, I replaced that there. The door on the inside the door was kind of busted a little bit, has not been totally. What we actually wanted to do there was to do what we did a year, maybe 2 years ago on the other end. We boarded it, took the door out and took it to the Amish and had it repaired. It's Billy Bob can't just go in there and fix it where it's caved out, broke out a little bit. So we want to do it. If we do it, we'll do it right, not no.
Good.
Get it back to where it would to be. That has not been done yet. That is on schedule. I know we had the opening on ceremonies and things like that in the past, but it could be done anytime. Okay, and that has not been done, but and it hasn't been scheduled, but it needs to be done. It will be done.
Okay, that's great. And we're the only time that the museum's even going to be open till spring is in a couple of weeks. We're having a class come visit, and so that's it. And so during the winter here is probably the best time you can board it up and do what you guys do.
Now, okay, and the person or the contractor that did the east door is the same contractor that did the painting. Now, on that west door, the main entrance, the deadlock bolt, I have that. I still like, I put another one on it, and keyed it. I kept the old, but all I need with the old is have a locksmith take and rekey it, okay? And I could put it back on there because it's original. I mean, where it was. It's
Yeah, I
no
don't
big
think it's
deal, but
original Anyway.
that's whatever. And so fixing the door is the main thing on that, is the wood part of it. I talked to the contractor in reference to the paint. He's gonna check it out.
Okay,
I've
good.
noticed it, and it's only on the north side. And it looked like something was splashed on it here, there, whatever, it comes on down. I took photographs of it. So I said, and this is, I didn't just notice it the other day because y'all was having a meeting here. I've been noticing it for the last.
And we talked about it
Yeah.
last time we wrote it.
And so I said, well, I talked to the contractor. In fact, I talked to him yesterday. And he's gonna get back with me. But then I said, that's why I got my phone here. I went back and because I take pictures of everything. So I went back and October or August of 21, I took pictures of the caboose. And I took on that west side. And I can show you where like Ross was coming down and all this stuff. Everything that you see, what now that's kind of whitish or the paint removing, was there. Okay, before, it was painted.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, and that told me that the preparing of the surface was not done properly.
I think that's right.
Bottom line right there. Okay, and I looked at that, but and I have that to even show him whatever. So
Yeah,
when I do
good.
a meeting, and I thought we would be there. One of us would be there, but I didn't physically see him on that side sanding down or doing whatever to do was supposed to do. And what was on that surface, I'll look at it even up on the top part. You can see where now it's kind of light grayish, whatever. But even this shows
It looks
rust
like
and
it's
stuff that's
chalk.
coming down onto it.
Yeah, it's
So
oxidized.
it wasn't prepped properly.
Yeah.
From bottom line right there. So,
I agree.
and I'll get with him. I'll show him that and to be taken care of
Okay, good.
on the whole thing on that part. But yeah, that was the contractor and so.
It
Anyway,
looks like the new paint's just sloughing off the old paint that was oxidized underneath of it. It just
Yeah.
didn't adhere to it. It's just fluffing around.
exactly. Maybe it's fluffing off of it. There's no reason. There's no trees against it or anything, and it's just all coming off. And it wasn't prepped right. It wasn't prepped. It should have been
That's- it's
sanded
fine,
down.
so it gets all the
Right.
weather anyway,
Yeah.
but it needs to be better than that.
And so that's got to be done on that. And it was. And I set the flag back up, but the wind broke the flag, the stack on the flag that was there, the blue one, whatever it is. I stuck it back on there.
I think was that a flag that
That was yesterday, day before yesterday.
Tony
I think,
got?
yeah, I think Tony got that, and that was probably just for the holiday opening, and
And
then
the wind
we just
blew,
stayed up.
broke it off, and I just stuck it back in, broke it off, took it out and stuck it back inside there.
That high quality holder there that is made out of pure aluminum.
No,
About
it's all good.
And the
20th
heat
of an
was
inch
on, I mean, it was decent with the cold weather. I checked inside. Main thing, I'm going around from building to building with the freezing zero, not zero, but, 18, 19, 20 degree weather. And underneath, I don't want it frozen, broke, busted.
Yeah.
I did cut one of the lines off in the bathroom that goes to the outside spigot. I cut that off,
Okay.
so you wouldn't have that there at that building. And
Okay.
I see. I don't know what else.
All right. As far as the lock goes, I don't know if we can change it so that the same key that opens the door to the museum can open the caboose as well. It's a different key now.
That's how it, well, yeah, I guess it is.
It used
Is
to be
it?
that way.
Well, I
That's
thought-
right, it is.
Did we fix that? When you put the new lock on, there was a new key just for that lock,
For the caboose.
for the caboose.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it doesn't match the lock that's on the museum, on the building. It used to, so if
It
we can
has,
match them
it-
again,
it-
that'd be
I've
good.
I gotta get that done.
Okay.
See, one key fits both like it was before
Yes, sir.
on the
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
other lock.
But you don't have to put the old lock back on. It's
No.
not original anyway.
No.
And the new one works nice. It's smooth and everything. So, you know, you can keep that, but, if you can rekey it, that'd be great.
Yeah, and the,
Sure, I have a key.
and it does make a big difference when you got one key that fits it all.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it needs to be done. That there and, I think about not pertaining to the structure, but right there where the lights are, that shines up to the flags and everything, them shrubs and bushes down there,
Those
Yeah.
bushes
They-
need to be
They need
removed.
they need a good chop down.
None of my business, but I'm saying, I'm just.
You know, we've
Yeah.
talked about that before,
Yeah,
that those
they do.
bushes need to be pulled out of there and re-landscaping. Mhm. And
And
on another point too, because I was going back looking at what we talked about with Susan Stricker, she was going to do the lettering, which I thought that came out well.
Yeah, let's-
But then we also talked about the signage, the La Plata sign on the east
South.
end of the building. We've never gotten that replaced.
One that's bent or what have you.
Yeah, we haven't had that. You know, up on the
yeah, the
side
green,
of the building.
green sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never had that. So I did try to get in touch with Susan to see the status of that, but she hasn't gotten
I
back.
thought
to
she
me.
already, you talking about Susan at the,
Susan
Stryker or
Stricker,
whatever.
Stricker and Company, yeah,
I thought we had all approved and everything.
because we had it
The-
approved,
the
but it's not
materials
been
and
done.
cost and all that, it was all
Yeah.
approved, so.
Yeah, it was all approved. So I tried to reach her 2 or 3 days ago and she hadn't called me back. So we'll stay on.
I stopped,
We'll stay-
Park, yeah, I'll
yeah.
stop by and talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have no problem, because every day I'm round and round. all
Gonna
over
have an
town.
end. Okay, yeah,
Stop right there,
yeah, because I say that had been approved, yeah.
right, because it's got a peeling onto it right now, it's
Mhm.
peeling.
Yeah.
So,
It's actually, I think, breaking in half. up
Yeah,
there.
it looks like it's bent and then put back and the paint broke in the middle, but
Yeah.
whatever happened to it.
It's kind of separating.
Yeah.
Actually,
right.
I think there are also a few boards on the end of the station that look like they're starting to show some wear as well on that same end.
I probably need to look at that closer before I say anything. about it, though.
well, yeah, we take a look at that, also, over the period of time, some of them will come up. What, because when they put it all down, put it down with nails, but they need to be screwed down.
Well, that on the deck, I'm talking about on the side of the building
Oh,
itself,
okay.
which is down in that corner, if I recall, but I probably shouldn't say anything till I go back and look at it again. Might not be remembering it right.
Okay. Any other questions for Donnie here?
There was something else. Don't get old.
Hey, I just had the big one, Donnie. I'm right there with you. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say something now. I forgot what it was now.
Oh, that must be Jane. How do we know who's online?
You can
That's
see the
Jane.
pictures in the corner.
That sound like Jane.
Yeah, it's me, it's me.
Hi.
Hi.
We have Jane and Dave online. Is there anybody else online? I don't see any other pictures.
Just audio.
All right. All right, so we have kind of a big agenda to move through today. So you want to take your move? You can make your move now.
No, that was,
Yeah, you're welcome to stay.
You don't have to stay.
okay,
Ready to go.
y'all need it.
But you're
What I was gonna say, I just remembered, when I have my meeting with the contractor, I want to get back with everybody or
Okay.
to let you know what has come about, what's going to be done, be taken care of.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
I
Look forward to
I
it.
meet with him. It won't be one day next week is when I'll meet with him and to go over everything.
We will
'Cause
put
I'm
you on
gonna
the
show him-
agenda for the next meeting,
Yes, okay.
not
And
sooner.
show him, because I got that the pictures of what it was before
Good.
it was done.
Yeah.
And it shows it on there.
Yeah,
so.
and it's obvious to me anyway.
I
Like
think,
Stuart said, it was, the surface wasn't prepared. and
No,
the
it
paint is
wasn't.
just
I don't
falling.
think it was prepared inside either, because you had that same rust coming down roughly in the area where that smokestack used to
Yes.
go through there, and on that edge of you could see the rust coming down, and I think they just painted over top of that, but that doesn't get wet again, so it probably will be stable for a while. It's the outside that's falling apart.
Right. And
And the caboose is old, let's face it. I mean, it's,
it was only, it was,
it's the old 10
it-
thing.
it might be old, but still, the paint was like March or April 22.
Yeah,
That's
so-
only a year and a half.
Yeah, that should last longer than that.
So,
Okay,
all right. I'll let you know. Ma'am,
Do you want all the agendas?
I don't need them, but I mean,
well, that's multiple copies for everybody.
oh, oh.
Okay,
See you in the springtime.
If it ever thaws out.
okay, next thing on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. There was a link in the material that Kelly sent out. Does anybody have any comments or proposed changes to the minutes?
No.
I do not.
I move we approve the minutes as is.
All right, there's a second to that
I'll
motion.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Bye.
Excellent. Okay. Do we have enough for a quorum? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we only need 3.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
We have 5
we have 5.
with Kelly and Jane.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, see here, it says member, and that's why I wasn't sure. I didn't think you counted, but I didn't want to
Okay.
read it.
See, the next thing, going back to the train station, I think, oh, we're done with that. I'm sorry. Next item on the agenda is the strategic objectives. When, back in early January, I sent an email to everybody with a drafted, objective
Mhm.
for our plan forward. I have no pride of authorship here, but I would like to get a agreement on it. So if you touch the link, for those of you online, with the Kelly's email, there's a link to the objective that we wrote. And I wanted to see if everybody's comfortable with it. And if so, we'll say yes and yea verily vote on it and approve it. And, but I want to make sure, are there any questions or comments? I'll read it. For those of you who can't see it for some reason. It says preserve and bring to life the history and heritage of the town by enhancing the experience for our citizens and visitors alike that use our history to create a more vibrant town while retaining its small town charm and amenities for all to experience. Anyway, does anybody have any comments or questions? Oh, good. Thank you, Kelly. She beat the technology.
Oh,
Mm.
I thought it was very, very well written myself. I liked it.
yeah.
Great.
like it.
Yeah, I think so.
Fine, it's good.
Very concise.
All right, yeah, the idea was, I talked to the mayor about this some time ago and, we talked about the idea of using the work we're doing to actually help draw people into the town and make the town more vibrant and all that. And that's what I was trying to capture in this statement. So if there aren't any comments to it, then I'm just going to propose a vote on it and just say that a proposal to adopt the objective as written.
Is that a motion?
Well, I don't know if I can make a motion or if.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion. I'll make the motion that we adopt that objective statement.
Then I guess
I'll
I'll second
second
it. We'll all second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Yeah, Jane got it.
all right. Awesome. So if you look below there, the other conversation that we had in our last meeting was coming up with a set of activities that would lead us towards achieving our objective. And if we do some of these things, you'll be moving towards it. I don't expect everything to happen overnight. I'm more realistic than that. We only meet every 3 months, so I know that things move at a pace. However, there are some great projects here that we talked about the last time. And, I'd like to think about which ones of these do we want to pursue further. And then here's the trap, everybody. Then what I would like to do is identify somebody who's going to take charge of one of the tasks that we choose to pursue so that we can start getting work done towards them. So we have ongoing activities that you see here on the list. For example, the train museum is our centerpiece right now. We have some activities related to the upcoming 1926 tornado observances and how we want to handle that. We have our ongoing activities with historic plaques that are doing very well. Some of the things we talked about before was taking action on the firehouse to turn that into something that we could visit and use. There was some discussion around the Coca-Cola building, and I don't know if that's even available to us to act on, but if we can convince the company there that that could become something more historic looking, featuring Coca-Cola perhaps, but do something else with that. We have the jail. We have the Winkler House, Tillman Lake? Tillman Lake, excuse me, Tillman Lake, that needs to, that we might be able to do something with. We talked about doing a living walking trail and potentially using a app. There's a Go app that we could adapt to a walking trail where people can walk and listen to a tour. And then we've got the opportunity with the Armory, where we could potentially have a town and joint venture with the county to talk about military history perhaps, or do something else with it. So what I'd like to do is discuss these potential activities. There might be some I missed here. I might have missed something with my notes. So again, help me out if I missed something, or if we want to add something, I'm open to that. But then I'm going to want to take the next step with some of these, the ones we choose to pursue, and look for someone who might be interested. We also need to kind of formalize who's kind of running things that are in play already. So like, you know, there might be some natural fits for some of these things, like the train museum. It's been ongoing for a while. So you've done a ton of work on that, but Bob has also done a lot of work with that.
And Mary Beth too.
And Mary Beth too. So, you know, there's strong opportunities. I just want to have somebody that's a belly button for the train station. Doesn't mean you do everything, by the way, but somebody who could coordinate activities. For the 1926 observances, you and Tony are very active in that anyway, and we can talk about that.
Okay.
The historic plaques, Mary Beth, you've been doing that.
Well, Mary Beth and Jane.
And Jane.
Jane.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what I mean. I want to make sure that I know who should really be the belly button for these things.
Well, the plaques would be Jane and I.
Okay.
Can you refresh our memories on why Tillman Lake is on there?
It was just an idea for a potential develop something there in terms of its historic.
Okay.
Nothing magic there yet.
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Okay.
Because I don't know how old Tillman Lake is. I mean, it was a swimming hole for us when we were kids, and then it went on to become, well, we really, the Red Cross used to give us swimming lessons out there and everything, and then it went on to become Tillman Lake, named after one of the mayors here years ago. But I don't think Tillman Lake has any historic value to it.
Dad had it. I think Dad was the mayor when it was annexed for the water supply for town.
Yeah.
And I know that, I think the Russian embassy used to use it for years as a swimming hole for the Russian diplomats.
Federal government property at one time.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it may not be a project we pursue.
It might be something you could do for as a nature, you know, I don't know that
Maybe combine it with the walking trail or something.
There's a kind of a exercise trail out there now.
Yeah.
They've got different little exercise stations, and augmenting that with nature stations like they do down at the Port Tobacco River Park a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Or getting an opportunity to just leverage the outdoor space for things. I know somebody had mentioned before about a Native American history or just natural history that we don't really have a way to exploit discussions on that in town much. So
Mhm,
maybe
mhm.
outside in that area might be a place we could do that.
So, Mr. Chair, if I
Yeah.
could, so Tillman Lake would fall under Parks and Rec Commission. And so anything, any kind of programming or installations that you wanted to do there would need to go through Parks and Rec.
Perfect.
As far as developing a nature park, that's something Keep Playable Beautiful has been talking about. Chris Wagner has been kind of pushing for some boardwalks, some ways to explore the nature, the natural setting. But as Chandler mentioned, I'm not sure that we have a historic interest in Tillman Lake necessarily, unless you want to put up something explaining who Tillman was, because that
That
might
could
be
be a
one.
plaque, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be a plaque.
It was
And if
pretty.
we do the walking thing, we could incorporate it. But-
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right, so I think I sense agreement that Tillman Lake is something we'll probably take off our list since I spelled it wrong anyway. So we'll just.
Be an advisor to,
Spelled
as
right.
opposed
Yeah,
to.
it's
leader
spelled
of.
right. Look for
Spelled
just a-
correctly.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's. spelled.
Yeah,
right.
it is.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
right?
I think it's
just
right.
bounced it.
Mhm.
Okay,
It was Tinch Tillman.
I got you.
And Mr. Chair, if I could give some background on some things that are ongoing already.
Sure.
The firehouse is under renovation. It's been repainted. I don't know the last time you've been near it, but it's bright red now. It's the color of the antique pumper that's parked in it. The bay side, the rescue bay side is, we're actually working through Keep Play to Beautiful, an RFQ, request for price quotation to turn that into a multi-purpose kind of area venue space. There is the opportunity to use it for like historical speeches, art groups, meetups. The original idea was garage band. So we would open up the bay doors and have performances, but it would be like a flexible kind of venue space. There's
Okay.
also the opportunity to put historic displays up, either, on a permanent basis or on a temporary basis, if you just wanted to have a celebration of some sort. That's where we're headed with that.
Okay.
I just met with an architect to discuss the ADA compliance of it, and that's going to be pretty, not terribly extensive, but it's more than we expected.
So I'd be interested to hear about that because we could use the upstairs space then potentially for display, right? For like museum stuff, if it's ADA.
That's the tough part.
That's
the
the
tough
hard
part.
part. That's
So
the
you're
really
talking
hard
about
part.
the whole
Those
firehouse
steps
or just the rescue squad portion?
Just the rescue squad portion right now, which by itself is terribly not ADA compliant.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
even using that space is going to need a lot of work. But we have magic ARPA money for that right now. But we have to figure out how much that's going to cost and if we'll be able to fund the whole project or how far that will go.
Okay.
The same architect walked through the 2-story building and looked at the very steep steps,
Yes,
which she's been in there,
narrow.
she feels like there may be some way to work that as a museum for real, like an actual working, operating museum, but it's going to take a lot of work as well. And that would probably need to come out of, we need to pursue, the Historic Preservation Commission would need to pursue a grant for that.
Okay.
If you really wanted to turn that into a museum.
So we had talked at one point about the rescue squad space as being a more permanent home for the La Plata history, just portion of the railway museum, since it's a very limited space there. Is that off the table at this point, or is that not in part of the discussions anymore?
I don't know. There's been a lot of projected project ideas for that space.
Okay, I wasn't aware of
So-
all these other things going on with it, so I was
Right.
just a little bit thrown by that.
Sure.
Okay.
So who's got kind of the lead for the firehouse activities?
Kelly, you're looking at it.
Perfect. Well, that's actually very convenient because now we can integrate whatever we come up with there.
Right.
Integrate them together.
And the whole idea is to have it redone, renovated in a way that it could be like a cohesive museum if we ever get around to that. In the meantime, the rescue bay is going to match the 2-story one, and
Mhm.
the volunteer firefighters or firemen's association still has possession of that side. So their pumper's still parked in there, and they have a whole bunch of old fireman equipment, which is
Yeah.
super cool. And I would love to see on exhibit. I mean, having just looked at it today, there's definitely potential for a museum, but you need another belly button to head that up.
Right, so that's, right, so we'll need somebody to help with that. Okay, so. But the good news is, well, it's shared work here because
Yes,
it's a
yeah,
lot of
it's a- it-
activity, so that
And that's,
reduces the load, because it's
that's
a big
gonna-
project all on its own.
oh, sure.
I'd like
And
to see it also as a celebration memorial space for the volunteers over the years that have put themselves out there for the firehouse and for the county and for the town. Commemorated in some way.
again, and one of the many ideas that's come through, a heroes museum was suggested, something for veterans and first responders. Lots of memorial ideas have come up.
Your armory would be better for the veterans, I think, but
I
first
imagine that's going to
responders-
be. Donnie, did you want to take, Donnie's back there?
That's what it was.
Ah,
Oh, yeah,
before it was painted.
yeah,
And 21.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's exactly what you see under all the peeling. paint.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why.
I had forgotten how bad that
Yeah.
rust was above those windows.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It went away. Okay,
It went away. That's okay, we saw it.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Donnie.
Starting.
No
Oh,
worries
no
for
worries.
Don.
You can interrupt us anytime.
That's the way it was.
Okay.
But anyway, so in the preparation of all these RFQs and what we're trying to do with the firehouse, historic always comes up, and that's going to come up again under sustainability. So I'll
Good.
leave that for a second.
Well, what would our role be in all those discussions? I mean, are we just at this point just sort of throwing our 2 cents on the table as part of a wider discussion or?
Well, if historic had a concrete idea of something that you wanted to do there, we would be sure to incorporate that into the planning process.
Okay.
So. Another one, I can provide some insight into the Coca-Cola building, in that's a really big thing to take on. So far, Coca-Cola is not interested in moving out of their location because it's paid for, and why would they? Until they have a motivation to do that,
Yeah,
it's
so-
going to have to be very good
Yeah, I
motivation.
mean, that's been going on for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
People have gone to
It has.
Atlanta trying to work with them and it's just not
Yeah,
working.
it's been it was in the vision plan. What was
Oh.
that, 30 years ago now?
The vision plan for 2001, I know it was in that.
Yeah, so
Right before
that's
the tornado.
over 20 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been talking about it. There has been a little bit more talk, but there's always talk. So
Yeah.
So are we moving towards trying to make that a historic asset of the town, or is the long-term goal to clear that out and make space for something else? Because I've heard both.
the goal was to make it part of the town.
Okay.
Like kind of like the Firehouse Museum, bring
Yeah.
it back into regular use.
So that building, I'm sorry, that building has been added onto extensively from what it used to be. I don't even know if the original building's underneath what's there or not.
Now,
Is
the
there?
original building was a two-story
Yeah,
block
it's a little
building.
cinder block
Yeah.
box, but did they tear that down and rebuild it, or they just add on to it until you can't recognize what's there?
I would say they had to have torn it down because it would have been taller than what it is today, I would think.
Possibly, yeah, you're probably right about that. So are they utilizing the entire space? This is a void for me. I know nothing about inside that building. Because when you look through the front of it as you're driving by, it looks like just open space that's not even being utilized.
They do trans-shipping out of there.
Yeah.
So,
In the back though, but in
Yeah.
the front.
I think in the
Very
front,
little.
they have a meeting room.
yeah,
Yeah.
they do have
I wonder
office
if we could
staff, but
do
not
a
a lot.
little museum in the front of the building dedicated to Coca-Cola's history in the town, to the extent that we can get anything related to it other than a few bottles.
In fact, maybe they would do it and just keep their building,
Yeah,
but for them, develop it as some kind of a space
it'd be
with a
like
store or something that people could buy.
Coca-Cola.
I go into Martin's, the gas station.
You love it.
I love that little
Love it.
store, right? It's a
Yeah.
shop. So, if the Coca-Cola guys did that for themselves, and we could support the idea in any way we can, but let them do it privately, and then we don't need their building, and they could keep it, and it would blend in better with the motif of the block there, because there's nothing to people just walk by. It's nothing to see. There's nothing there.
This
No, there's
town
no
used
interaction with the town at all.
to have, I think, as many as 2 and maybe 3 different bottling works going at one time.
Oh, yeah. I remember when
And
they bought.
They were just sort of stashed in different places around the town.
Hmm.
And I've just got this thing, it'd be so neat to be able to get a hold of, if they're even out there anywhere, a 1920s era, 1930s era bottling works plant, just portions of it, and have that on display as a centerpiece to have people come to see, how that used to be done, because they did bottle in the town, and get, make it a museum in terms of the historic nature of Coca-Cola's presence here, and then have the gift shop as Rich is talking about, which is ideal, I think.
So, Mr. Chair, what I hear is Mr. Bowling would like to head this project to build a history of Coca-Cola in La Plata.
Hoping we'll have a Coca-Cola fanatic somewhere that will hear this and go, hey, I want to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a break. Is there a point of contact over there? I'll go talk with them.
I do not have one,
If you
but
could
I can look in.
Get me one.
Or Councilman Winkler might be able to get
Yeah.
one through his,
Somebody could get me a point of contact over there that I could walk in and talk to, see what they think.
through the council.
Give me a few days and I'll go through my Rolodex. I should have a couple of contacts over there.
Yeah, and if there was some kind of an introduction out of the council for me to go over and visit them, that'd be even better.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll tell you my neighbor's grandmother just passed away, and they were cleaning out her basement, and it was Mrs. Michael. And the amount of Coca-Cola historical things that they had, just, golf clubs, golf balls from the 20s and 30s. And so they've boxed it all up. The family has. So I'll ask, Ray to kind of go through if there's anything that might be a great way to kind of broker a conversation with Coke.
Yeah.
That would be
That's
great.
a museum right
That
there.
would be great.
Yeah.
You could have pretty much just moved it over, and I think you would have had your museum.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's exactly the thing we're looking for.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
And the last thing I can provide you, at least, I don't know if it's background, but there is something going on in Keep a Plata Beautiful as far as a walking trail. I don't know how many historic sites you had in mind, but trust me, it's going to be relevant. Bee City USA set up a Google map with pollinator gardens, and we'll be adding pollinator gardens as people report them and sign up for this. Another layer that they added on was the pollinator or the native plant sources. At my request, they went ahead and added the train station museum and the firehouse as a separate layer of historic, so that people could, so it would all be in one place.
Yeah.
And then we renamed the map to the Sustainable La Plata map. So
Okay.
all of the resources are in one place. So you can see the things that you want to see, and then take and not show the things that you don't want to see, but it would all be in one place. One of the advantages for that is, besides it's all being in one place, is this would be in support of our Sustainable Maryland certification, which is due coming up this year. Historic preservation is a part of community sustainability. So this is, it's not just a stretch. It's not a stretch at all. It is an active part of the whole plan. So
Okay.
if that makes that any easier, all I would need to get that on the sustainability map is a point of contact to feed me sites. Probably wherever we have a bronze plaque, we'd want to put that on the map. But besides the train station museum and the firehouse museum, I don't know what else should be on there.
Well, I mean, the church, I guess. I mean, the Episcopal Church would be
Right.
Does it have a bronze plaque?
Yes.
Yes.
It does have a bronze.
We have 4
Well,
bronze
what about
plaques.
the hospital?
Has one.
We have the
Old
hospital.
Right.
So you have a whole list of where the bronze plaques?
So 4, we've only done 4. So it's
Okay.
easy to keep up with.
All right, so I
can
can
send
get
it to
that
you.
list from you and
Yeah.
put it on the map?
Can't. Mhm.
And then one day, maybe this whole Google Sustainable Maryland or Sustainable Plata map can be converted into a walking trail. Or we can just set the sites in an order so that if you follow the trail, it actually is a trail.
I recall during one of my earliest meetings that I attended, that they were talking at one point about
Trail.
type of sign that had been developed in other areas where you could, it was a street sign, like a placard that had a photograph on it. And then when you walked around the photo would change, it would shift and from another into another photo. So you could see it from different angles. And the idea being that you would have a photograph of that street scene as it is today. And then when you shift, the same position of that street scene as it was from one of the historic photos that we have in town. I think that would be a great way to get a walking trail going in town, assuming you can find ways to put those placards up that don't impede sign regulations and, you know, things like that, where people could just walking around town could look and say, oh, this is what that place looked like back in 1940 or 1930, if we have the photographs for it. And fortunately, we actually do have quite a few neat landscape type photos that could be used in that.
So again, with Sustainable Maryland, because this is my new religion, we had a story walk project, and what we had envisioned was those kind of display boards that you would see at a park. They're glass covered and you can change it. Something like that. That might work for you. Or a lot of places will use a QR code, which doesn't help if you don't have, if you don't know what it is. But if you had a plaque with a QR code, they could scan it and see what was there before.
Yeah, I would kind of prefer the sign itself, but I want something that kind of grabs you as you're walking by, so that even if you're not intending to do it, you do it because you see it and you go, oh, what's that? You know,
Or
kind of neat.
perhaps both.
Both.
I mean,
Yeah, that's true. You could have both.
because you can give a lot more information over the internet than you can on a plaque.
Well, those same outdoor plaques, like on the parks, that's what I have in mind for the Pope's Creek line stations all around the outside of the train station.
So are you talking about a glass enclosed one, or are you talking about a permanent non-changing one?
Like a kiosk that's non-changing. It would be a little stand that shows all the different stops of the Pope's Creek line for that branch, for the railroad that went through town. And we would have a little stand all the way around the perimeter of the deck of the caboose of the train station, so that you could, if you went to the train station and it was closed, you could still actually kind of tour the entire Pope's Creek line through these placards, just walking around the outside.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm.
Mr. Chair, what I hear is Mr. Bowling would like to be the belly button for this project.
Well, I mean, I actually feel like I should probably be the belly
You're
button
good
for the
for
train station.
For the train station.
Yeah, I have me sort of penciled in there as a tentative for that, so.
So that would pick that up. Then. So, okay. Any objection to Stuart taking the lead on the train station effort?
No.
And then I have nothing else for the moment.
Oh, that was awesome. That fed this conversation perfectly. Okay. Just look at my notes here real quick. The jail. What's going on with the jail?
Well, I sent everybody an email yesterday to download the current wording for the old jail building. And I worked with Jane and I together. We worked with Kathy Thomason, who is with county government, historic preservation, for the wording. And I just need to get everybody's approval on the wording, as well as the cost of that plaque. The bronze plaques are really getting very expensive. And the cost for that bronze plaque is $559, including shipping. And so we would need approval for that.
Okay. We have room in our budget for that.
Yeah, I think we're okay that way.
I could not go back through the minutes and find out, but I thought we had already approved that, but I
I
couldn't.
think we have.
I just couldn't find it in the old minutes.
I thought we had.
But again, it's $559. So I guess we're going to start with a whole new motion.
Okay.
But what did y'all think of the wording? Which I don't have in front of me.
I
I'd like-
apologize because I haven't read it.
I'd like to see a little more about the dates, the date range of when it was an actual jail, because you have the date range for when it was a library. And the date range when it began being the jail. Was it a jail all the way up until it was a library, or?
Yeah.
It was a jail until, go ahead, Jane. Go ahead, Jane.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
No, you
Go ahead. It was during that until the date that you have for the library, but it was actually slightly further than that. Didn't we decide, Mary Beth, that we included when the library first went in there, even though the jail was still active, right? Was that the way we ended up?
No, it wasn't the jail very long before they built the second jail. Let's see
Okay.
here.
I remember the first jail had a problem with the cells when they first built it. They found out that anybody put inside one of the cells could just open the door from the inside. So that was a big problem.
Okay, I think I can go back and look at the date on that, but I think it was only a jail, maybe 14 years when the second jail building was built.
Oh, I didn't think
Okay.
that, but I'm
From
not sure. I'm not
1920
sure.
to almost the close of 54, it was the library.
There's one on either
Right.
side, shorter one facing the Washington Avenue side, that one.
So you're saying you would like a date as to how long it was actually used as a jail building?
Yeah, I mean, it says it says
The
it's the
beginning
jail,
and
but
end.
it gives you actually more
Yeah.
detail about when it was a library. I just thought we should just have the date range for the jail, but when it was the jail, and that's the only thing I think.
Okay, and I'm sure it's in this book.
Yeah, it's in the first chapter.
The very first chapter? Thank you.
I
Laura.
wish we had something since we're talking about the site itself, the building itself. I wish we had something on the architecture, but I couldn't find anything online that referred to, anything like that. That would be nice, I think, to add to it, but I couldn't find anything about it.
Well, and I don't know. I guess I could go back to Kathy Thompson and see if she has anything.
Okay.
I don't know.
Rick Lord would have been.
What are they
perfect.
using it for today?
And I don't think it's used at all today.
Just a storage space now?
I think it's just a storage space now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that would be an opportunity. Exactly. That would be an opportunity for us, as we look for spaces that make sense to turn into something for people to look at. The jail would be an opportunity. And I don't even know if it has a jail cell in it anymore, but people would get a kick out of that. What did the old jails look like?
Yeah.
The photo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did we have anybody notorious stay there? Who knows?
I couldn't find anybody. Could you, Mary Beth? I looked and I didn't see anybody
I really didn't.
notorious.
I can't say that I looked for that.
Yeah, I looked and
Well, we can do a
because I
little
thought
more
that would be neat.
research. I mean, this doesn't have to happen today or tomorrow. We can do a little more research and come back again, doing it via email
Mhm.
till we all come up with what we feel is
And
adequate
I
information.
have to admit, I'd love to go see it. I don't know what's there, and I'd love to see what it looks like.
Mhm.
And maybe we could talk about after that. Maybe
Yeah.
we could arrange a
Well,
little road
yeah.
trip
I could,
for
get-
our group. and
I could
go
get in
look.
touch with Kathy and say we'd like to go see the building and is
Yeah.
it being used actively now? And find the date that this second jail was built.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm sorry, I can't get at the picture right now, but will the quote expire or is it just until you order it?
I think he didn't
Hmm.
say, when the pricing would go up,
Okay,
but this was a price increase already, so I don't anticipate it would go up
We
anymore.
have a law enforcement.
okay, and we have contracts every so often, they'll give us a quote and it expires in
Yeah.
6 months or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think he would have said that, but again, I can go back and ask him how long the quote's good for.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm on page 9. Hey, there's the picture of it right there.
First column, last paragraph.
Oh,
Mid-year planning was underway for the new jail.
Oh,
And then it goes into your story
Yeah,
about the jailbreak, because the lock
locks wouldn't lock.
effective inside the jail.
Shades of Andy Griffith, right? And just reach
Oh,
over
yes.
that key and just unlock the cell.
But it doesn't say how long the building was used. Is that correct?
I thought I found it somewhere online, but I'd have to go
I
back.
thought you
and
did
look.
too. Something about
Yeah.
14 years or 16 years sticks in my head, but okay, well, we'll come back to y'all on this then.
Okay, so do we need, I don't know, Kelly, if you were sneaking a peek at the minutes, do we need to do a new motion for the plaque funding?
Because it's a new amount, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so then, could I hear a motion for that?
I move that we approve the amount of $559 for the new plaque for the jail.
Okay, could I make a suggested amendment there to, or approximately $559 in case the price goes up
Makes sense.
Yeah.
some amount?
Okay.
So we don't have to come back to this?
Mhm.
An amount not to exceed $650.
There you go.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
And was there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, and we'll keep working on this wording till everybody
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
satisfied with it. Okay.
And then the only other action out of the jail discussion is we could get a little.
Sure.
a little-
Okay, I'll find out what's going on in there and see what Kathy can get us over there.
Even if it's just a closet now, I'd love to just see what the space looks like and how
Okay.
big it is.
Mhm.
Get a-
I remember when it was the library, the upstairs of it was the
I have
library.
vague memories of being in the library, but.
Oh, it's 2 floors?
Yes,
Yeah,
just
the
for-
library was upstairs.
and the
It's not
library,
ADA compliant either.
no,
Yeah.
there was a stairway that took you upstairs, so that's where the library was. Mhm.
Okay,
Probably why it's used for storage at this point.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Winkler House is, where are we on Winkler House?
Well, I don't think we have anything going on there. I mean, it's with the county and the library association and,
But it's gonna stay, right?
well, we don't know that for a fact. I've heard statements that say that it doesn't need to come down, but I've never heard that it definitely was not coming down.
We were told originally to be down by now.
Yeah.
So who knows what's gonna happen with it.
David, if you can ever give us any input on that, it'd be wonderful.
I'll look into, I thought you were referring to my house.
No.
Well, for the
I
right.
said, y'all want to take it over? You go right
It's the-
ahead.
it's
Now,
208
yeah,
Washington
I'm
Avenue.
curious.
Yeah. Well, we had met with Jim Goldsmith, and bringing you up to date, we had hoped that we could save both that house and
Mhm.
the Hotchkiss house. But the Hotchkiss house definitely has to come down for the road to go through there to extend Talbot
It
Street.
has to be moved. Let's put it that
So
way.
we had hoped that they would, the suggestion had been at the Charles County Historic Preservation level that they could move the house, the Hotchkiss house, behind the Winkler house and repurpose them such as for tourism or whatever.
Tourism center, art center.
Yeah, tourism center, art center. But anyway, we just don't know. We have no solid answer to that. And the town, I don't know how much input they have anymore in that project. I think it's all at the county level and the library level.
The Hotchkiss house is already renovated inside and is already, I guess, ADA compliant.
Mhm. That
And so it has potential of actually being a commercial property if it's moved to a suitable space for it.
Mhm.
Where does that, other than Kent Avenue, where does the road, the proposed Talbot Street extension, does it go beyond Kent Avenue?
It
I
doesn't
have
go
not
as far as
seen-
Kent Avenue.
Now it goes to the railroad track. It'll go
Begs
straight
the
through,
question,
stop
what's
the
the
railroad
purpose?
track. What is the purpose? So that you'll have two means of getting into that side of town and the library. The library building is actually going to go back in the back field by the
Okay.
railroad track. And you will, let's say if you're coming into La Plata, coming west, you would turn right at the railroad track. I believe that's Maple Street, South Maple or
Yeah,
something.
in other words, they
And-
couldn't cut it between as well.
And that's going to take you right through the back field to the library. So you'll have two entrances, Talbot Street or Maple Street. Mhm.
And it's a Talbot extension that's going to take down the two houses. We think.
Yeah, yeah. So. But that's
Okay.
all we know on that.
All right. Uh, yeah, does anybody have any further thoughts relative to the armory?
I had always heard it was going to be torn down simply because of all the
That's it.
asbestos. But again, I think that's state property now, I believe. Well, the Army always was state property, right? Not federal. I know at one time they wanted to give it to the town and the town didn't want
I
it.
thought it belonged to the county. County was trying to sell it, so
Yeah,
I believe it belongs to county.
county. Okay.
So that might be a step too far for our little group.
Well, there's already a military history museum. And I don't know whether the one that's down on
The Veterans Museum.
Veterans Museum, yeah, that's kind of if you've been down there, they kind of cover the whole gamut, Revolutionary War up to Gulf War.
That's a wonderful museum.
It is, and
It is.
it's kind of tough
Very
to,
good.
kind of tough to expand on what they've done with a military museum here unless it's specific to like the local militias, the local National Guard and that type of thing. So I don't know. You're also looking at what's the asbestos situation? Is that like a death knell for that building, or is that something that can be worked around?
Well, I think it's much too much of a project for us to ever pursue.
Yeah.
I mean,
Such a big building to begin with. That would be a huge undertaking, I think.
Well, if I recall, the Centennial Ball was held in that building, wasn't it?
oh, yeah, it
So
was.
it has
It has
venue
history.
potential,
I mean, we used to have basketball games in there. because-
indoor performance venue potential.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the consensus here is for us. We don't have anything for the armory right now.
No.
Okay. All right. So that kind of leads me, the only other big activity that we were talking about was related to the 1926 tornado activities. And I know that Stuart, you and Tony are working on that. And I want to kind of bend this a little bit because there's the activities you guys are pursuing related to the book and
Yes,
the play.
Correct.
Those are outside of HPC.
Exactly.
And so that's not really us. The question for us is 1926 or 2026 is coming. And if there's going to be some kind of an observance from the town relative to the 100-year anniversary and what can we do to commemorate that? And to my way of thinking would probably be something that kind of focuses on obviously there was loss of life there and families that are still in the area that it would probably be good to recognize that. But we also had a lot of things grow out of what happened at the with that tornado.
The hospital
It
and
could
all,
be the
yeah.
hospital,
Mhm.
ambulances, I think
water
the fire
tower.
department, all the
The
water
water-
tower, all those things
They
that
got pushed
grew
forward.
out of that tragedy that I'd rather focus on the positives and all the good stuff that happened as a result of that and how the town has grown as a result of that and maybe focus it that way. But we should probably be thinking in terms of what kind of activities as we draw, there must be an exact date for what was the exact date?
November 9th.
Yeah, so and when we get to maybe a November celebration or commemoration of that tragedy, how do we want to frame it? What do we want to do?
Well,
And
also,
how can we do that?
isn't it, it's the 25th anniversary, correct, of the
2002.
2002 tornado. So,
That would be in April, but
That would be 6.
But is that year?
26. Oh, yeah.
yeah, so see, both of those coincide.
Yeah.
I mean, 75 years, yeah, they were 75 years apart, but they
Yes.
both coincided. And so does the town have any plan for any
Remember,
commemoration of any of this that you're aware of?
It does not, and that would be calling a special events, but my understanding from our administration and Councilman Winkler, you can take a different stance on this, obviously. But the idea was not, it was actually more what Rich was saying about concentrating on the resilience of La Plata
Of the town,
citizens,
mhm.
of the town, and what the good things that came out of it, the strength of community that
Mhm.
came out of these events, and not so much on the loss of life, which obviously nobody's discounting. But the 2002 tornado probably will not be recognized again. And if you're gonna recognize the 1926 tornado, it'd be really hard to do that and not recognize the 2002 tornado.
you've got the
Yeah.
Star Garden, I think would probably be a good venue for some sort of little commemorative ceremony.
What?
The Star Garden,
Yeah, the Star Garden, yeah.
or you've also got the Black at Milton Summers. I think Tony, and at least because he is very much intent on commemorating the grave sites in whatever way he can do that, and he's to the point where he's doing it personally. I mean, he's gone out and put his own marker on the Rufus Watts
Right.
location because he had a wooden marker and it's gone. He's tracked down Lucy Edwards' grave in West Virginia, I think it is, or north. I think it's West Virginia, or maybe north part of Virginia, close to West Virginia. Her grave was unmarked. He saw to it that that was marked. He's now finding out that her father's grave was unmarked, and it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't track that down and mark that as well. So as far as commemorating those who died, I think just the non-town, the book project that we're working on is kind of covering that anyway. So that should be okay.
And we'll have, and if the show comes off, you'll have that too.
Yeah.
So those things are all happening independent of this. So I think there's space here we can talk about what came out, that's the good things, and not dwell on the tragedy side of it too much, but it happened, so we can't ignore it.
Oh, for sure. And a 100th anniversary, I mean, that is significant.
Yes.
That's not, it's not like the 53rd.
You're right.
Yeah. Incidentally, then this seems very random, but on Thursday, I received from county a school children's project that they had decorated tiles. I have pictures of it, but it's 57 inches on a side.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's very moving, but it's about the 2002 tornado. So I don't
Yes.
know how that works into any grander schemes of, insight into how people felt after the tornado. There was some great stuff on there about, I need to look out for my neighbor. Can you help me move this wood? I need to know my family's safe.
So
57 inches and very, very heavy.
it's 5 feet wide, and
But it's flat.
Same
It's a flat
square.
wall.
It is.
Mounted thing.
It's,
So
the
I
tiles
saw
are-
the photo of it, and I'm highly interested in not letting that get away.
Yeah, yeah. So it's right now it's stored in the Firehouse Museum in one of the rescue bays.
okay.
Could one of the goals with the Firehouse Museum tie this all together to get the museum up, the Firehouse Museum up to where we could use those rooms or use the upstairs for an exhibit from the the two tornadoes?
That's possible.
Gives us a target date.
It gives us a target date and it gives us a location.
And it helps us move forward on the firehouse.
So hopefully the Firehouse Bay renovations will be done this year. I mean, we have to spend the money.
Mhm.
Otherwise it expires. We have to give it back, and I'm not
No, we're
real
not giving
keen
it
on
back.
that. So hopefully that will be done this year.
We got it. When I get
Yeah.
back.
So maybe we could use that bay for exhibits.
Sure.
And
And I
maybe
mean, it
do
is
the-
co-located with the Star Garden.
Yeah.
So that
Mhm.
that's easy.
Maybe we could make that all come together in that location.
Is there any potential for that artwork to be adapted to some sort of outdoor case where that wouldn't be destroyed by the elements, where it could be viewed from the outdoors?
Probably make it.
I'm not sure what it's, yeah. I'm not sure what it's mounted on. I don't know if it's weatherproof. Somebody would have to
As
look
far-
at
That
that.
would have to be in some
As
kind
the
of a.
garden
case.
goes, I mean, things could be mounted, into the ground and not into the flagstone, but around the edge
Sure,
of that. Yeah.
Sure, wooden posts and
Mhm.
like the fences used to be.
Mhm.
And I would think,
Would be a temporary, this wouldn't be a permanent, but it would just for the year maybe or something.
if you're
Yeah.
gonna put something outside, maybe you make a print of that thing.
Yeah,
And then put that inside.
yeah, we could do that possibly.
Save the real.
Mm-hmm.
Bushes are supposed to come out. There'd be room.
Mhm. That would be a good location to do that
Mhm.
as a temporary thing and then go from there. Well, let's
Okay.
work together as making this a goal for where we would actually have a solid place for people to come.
When do you think the renovations of the firehouse will be done?
Well, I
Given what you're trying
wanted to be done by May 31st, but I think it's more likely September.
Yeah, because you have to have the money spent by a certain date. That doesn't mean the project has to be done, does it?
Mm,
Go on contract, get the money
The
obligated.
money has to be obligated this year. It has to be spent by the end of 25, I believe.
Right.
But
So that
we-
leads
we
us
want-
close to 26. That's where I was hoping that this was all coalescing around that. Okay,
We have time to do it. in
we
other
have
words.
time to do it and
But the money itself is for the firehouse
Yes.
renovation, not for the other stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
and if we need other stuff and we want to propose budget activity for that, we can do that internally.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have $5,000 new dollars every year. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is this purely firehouse renovation or is it firehouse, is it restoration of the firehouse or just adapting the firehouse to the needs that we are planning for it to have?
It's renovation, not so much restoration.
Okay.
That's another pot of money that I don't think the Historic Preservation Commission has tapped into as far as, historic preservation, Maryland Historic Preservation.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother thing.
Okay. Opportunity.
I'm happy to take you up there if you want to see what it looks like. And
Yeah.
Ron said he wanted to go.
Yeah,
Trauma.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Field trip.
Field trip.
We have two now.
Field trip around the
trips
Plata.
Yeah. They fixed the floor. That was in bad shape last time I was there.
So is there somebody who wants to say me for this firehouse activities? This would be, the good news is it's the integration with Kelly's other activities and all that, just kind of get our voice on the docket and be engaged with them.
I want to draft a fireman to do it.
I could do that from the standpoint of historic preservation, and then the Plata Garden Club maintains the garden there. So,
Yeah,
You know.
that's an easy crossover.
yeah,
Although, Mr. Chair, I would note that Commissioner Mudd is online, has not volunteered for anything, and she's very quiet.
I'm trying not to put people on the spot, but now that you have.
we didn't know she was there. Is Patty going to speak up?
No way.
No way.
That's a lot to ask.
Patty, I think you're on mute.
Patty knows how this works.
Okay. No, we won't do that. We won't put people on the spot, but is there anybody else that wants to help with that or?
Yeah,
this
I'd
would-
help. I would help with that. I think that's nice. I like the idea of it.
I'm always willing to pitch in on anything I can help with, but it's,
Okay. Oh, we're all right. We got 3 names here.
All right. Like it. So, Mary Beth and,
Ron and
Yeah.
Jane.
okay,
And you'll keep us abreast of when we need to be involved and when you're ready for us.
Yes.
Okay.
very excited. Okay.
Can I just ask a quick question? Kelly, does that have to do with the upstairs too, when you're talking about the renovation, or just the downstairs?
Right now, where the renovation is just the downstairs, and it's on the
Okay.
West Bay side, not where the antique fire truck is.
So what about that side? What's covering that? Is anybody doing anything with that?
We are not doing anything with that. Right now, the agreement with the Volunteer Firemen's Association is that is their space to use as they please.
Do they have any plan?
I do not believe.
Because I've heard this conversation before.
yeah.
And it's always been kind of nothing happening.
No, and the people who originally had the plan have lost interest or moved on to other things since then. I
We,
will say they have a lot of neat stuff in there.
I
So what
thought
I
we
was-
kind of wrested control of that already.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
And we can go upstairs.
Like today or,
Upstairs is, yeah, upstairs is lovely. I mean.
Yeah, that's great space. It's
Great
just
space up there.
difficult to get to.
So, all right, so for the three of you who are taking on this discussion with the firehouse, if maybe we reach out to the volunteer association and just see what they're thinking. And just,
Who
if
is
they're
this
thinking back-
organization?
Steve Schroeder, the Southern Maryland Volunteer Firemen's Association.
Southern Maryland Volunteer Firemen's Association.
I have Steve's contact information.
Southern Maryland. Because see, there was a 501c3 at one time that Mayor Ekman had gotten off the ground, but that's all
It's-
gone away now. That's
It-
all gone away.
Yes, that's been out of standing for quite a while.
Yeah.
So they have a lease on the building or what, what's their?
There's an MOU with the town.
Okay,
The town owns the building. We actually just paid it off last year. So we own it outright.
Okay.
But the agreement that they made 20 years ago was that the Volunteer Firemen's Association would be able to store that pumper there for as long as they wanted until the town told them we didn't want them there anymore, or until they decided they didn't want it.
There really is no reason why we couldn't have a museum with the pumper in the museum, which would be ideal anyway.
Yeah.
But when you see the space though, it would be a very small museum.
It's, yeah, well, that's exactly right.
that's
It
why we
would
need
be.
to.
That's why we want the upstairs.
I am not against knocking a hole in a wall to do that. Right now, there is a dividing wall between the two-story side
Yeah.
and the rescue base.
Actually,
Sure.
yeah, that
You
wall
can see where the
is part of the
windows were.
history. That wall
You can look-
dividing
knock those windows.
is
out,
actually
just put
part of the
plexiglass
lore and the
there.
history
Sure.
of that building.
Yeah.
Never cross the streams.
Firemen didn't want the rescue squad.
No, but
building
where the-
buildings, so they wouldn't let them have a wall, wouldn't let them put a door between the two.
That's fun.
But you can see where the windows were on that side of the building, and there's no reason why those couldn't be knocked out and plexiglass put in there, so you could see both sides.
Yeah.
And from both sides.
All right.
Okay, we'll work on this.
All right, this is good. Very excited. Okay.
So too soon to set a date? Or would you like to visit it next week, Wednesday?
I've already seen it, so I don't need to visit it.
Right.
I'll be out of
Seen it.
town until Thursday.
Do you want to see the rescue bay side?
Yeah, but I could do it. What could I do? I could do it Friday morning, or I could do it the following week. What about you, Ron? What about
I
you,
could-
Jane?
I could do Friday morning or the following week.
Monday, the 29th?
26th is Friday.
26th, is that Friday?
Mhm.
Okay,
I can do it Friday morning.
Well, let's go for Friday morning.
yeah. We'll meet there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
like to go to,
At 10?
11?
That's afternoon. That's not morning.
All right, 10 o'clock. You're morning people.
I guess I could go.
Am I to assume it's arranged for 10 a.m. and we'll be there? Or do I have to wait till I get an email that says it's?
No, is this confirmed, Kelly?
Yes,
It's confirmed.
Friday, the
Okay.
26th at 10 a.m.
Great.
all right.
I
Awesome.
can be there for part of it and then I gotta go get my kid out of school.
All right.
It doesn't take that long.
No,
No.
I've been there
And you've
before.
been there.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
And I'm to set up the jail visit. Okay.
Is the pump?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they use, it's lovely. It really is. And they use it for parades, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know who still drives it now because the last driver passed away, but
It's another photo op thing. I mean, it's another thing where you bring the kids in and take
Yeah.
a picture of them sitting up on the pumper. you
yeah,
know.
but I don't know who drives the
It's
Bumper
like a
now.
caboose.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Any other, so we covered a lot. This is great. Is there
Mhm.
any other topics or projects that aren't on our list that we should be thinking about?
I want to throw a wild one at you.
Wild one, come on.
Fire away.
The railroad tracks are, I guess, I mean, facing disuse now. I've heard complaints about people already about the trees and weeds growing up in the
Mhm.
tracks.
Mhm.
Siding is in even worse shape. The siding that is next to the museum has got large trees growing into it now. Is there any way we can explore, because I don't know what they're going to do with the through track, if they're going to actually pull the whole thing up, if they're going to keep it up down to a certain level, if they're going to tear the whole track bed up, are we going to lose the railroad crossing in town? Are they going to get rid of that? But if the tracks are not going to be facing any kind of commercial use, could we get use of that space for the museum to get additional rolling stock for the museum on display? Located either on the tracks themselves or on those siding pieces that are also really far gone, that are never going to be used for anything other than
Do you mean like
waste.
additional?
Cars.
Cars, yeah, like if we could get I mean, I know that Indian Head's got rolling stock they don't know what to do with. It's just sitting out in the yard
They
rotting.
have stock.
You know, if you went to it's got a station, but then they got for kids, several cars for them to walk through.
Road
Yeah.
trip.
A passenger car or something that would be, typical of what might have been in use. It wouldn't have to go back to the 1800s. It could be probably more like a 1940s thing or a 1960s, just a box car, just the kind of things that were in use when this was an active train stop.
Just many years ago. That's.
Mhm.
And there was those trains, the kids were walking up the steps, people were taking photos.
And see, when the library gets built and you're going down that, what's that, North Maple Street?
Mhm.
To the library, you're going right along the railroad track. So this could just play in beautifully together. It really
And
could.
it would, be ideal if we could just put it right next to the fence that's there and just the museum property that
Mhm.
rose to that spot with the tracks on it and place the cars there. We go look at them.
They're gonna
Love
be
to get an engine.
tearing
Wouldn't that
down
be
that
cool?
old.
It'd be cool to get an engine. I
What
don't think
is
we'd
that
ever get
building?
that. But it's a maintenance issue we got to
What
think
the-
about
the
too.
town by Indiana-
But I mean, just
Yeah.
keeping it,
So the town,
painted.
that's it. Town owns the property,
Mhm.
but it's leased. So, yeah. So
Now,
that'll be
Jenny
coming
Lewis
down.
was on
in
about putting
Ironwood.
a couple of box cars there and turning them into a sandwich shop.
With the
or
road
something
business.
and having a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Brilliant.
I said the museum can't do that, but some enterprising person might be able to.
Yeah. So could you check and just find out what the status of that space is?
Sure.
Or if we can even clean it,
Or if we can.
how
talk
it
to-
can at least get the
I'm
brush
sure
clean.
CSX will have a lot to say about this.
Yes, a lot of things that involve the word no, but it can't hurt to ask.
If they have no plan, if their
Right.
plan is to let it go, then their answer might be, oh, tax write-off.
Yeah, that's
And the
fine.
siding, I mean, the siding is actually just as useful. I mean, it would have to be fixed up some, but if they're worried about keeping the main line available for some potential future use, they already run cars through there when there were things on the side. So that wouldn't be an impediment to them. And they've already pulled up all the switches, so there's no way to get to those sidings anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Good
I'd
idea.
like to bring up a thought that I certainly don't have to talk about now. I'd like to talk about it. We can discuss it later. But I'm thinking with the next couple years coming up with all this activity we're talking about, should we think about meeting every other month rather than every 3 months? Instead of 4 times a year,
Yeah,
meeting 6 times a year to keep some of these things rolling and going.
yeah,
I don't know how you all feel about that, but
yeah, all right, since you brought it up,
okay.
because we talked about it the last meeting, we kind of let it just go. I think we could try every other month and see if it gets too sparse, we'll stop.
Yeah.
But does anybody have strong feelings one way or the other? I'm trying to look up at the TV here too, get everybody's inputs on this one. Huh?
Either way, I think that that's fine to do that. It's not a problem with me.
Yeah, I think meeting is needed for a while. I mean, it doesn't have to be a permanent change, just until we get through the
Okay,
busy time.
Till we get through that, yeah, 26.
let's try bi-monthly then for a little while, and we'll see how it goes.
I have
So
one
we'll look
more,
at our next meeting in 2 months.
I have
Okay,
one more little informational item.
look at our calendar.
The little wooden, and it's not little, the wooden train
Here
that
it is.
used to be at PS Bowlings and again at the, yeah, this one right here. You can all see. That was at, PS Bowlings and for a while at, the Green Turtle has been donated to the museum. I have received it. It's in the museum. It's a little bigger than I thought it was. I had a place I was going to display it. I may be able to get 3 of the 4 pieces up in that space. Not sure I can get the 4th one up there comfortably, but it's currently sitting in the museum right now, just sitting on the floor.
Oh,
It's a very neat looking piece. It's locally made.
Yeah,
It
turn it
does
over. It
have
says
some,
who made it.
Oh.
Everything's on the back.
yeah, it does have some history, just from the business history kind of perspective. It's not really it's just a kind of local thing that is kind of neat to have, but it's not a,
1980, yeah, the guy made it in 1989.
Yeah, they used it in the display, you probably said that.
yeah, they use it for, in the
Display
shoe
when it's
department for a
bowling.
while at the PS Bowlings, and then they used it after that as a decorative item.
Cool.
But the thing that I like about it is that it's handmade and it's made locally, so it's a nice piece.
No, it was made in 89.
Yeah.
For PS Bowling.
Yeah, it's not really an antique yet.
20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were here when we moved here in 91, so they closed around 92 or so. Not long,
Maybe 95.
maybe 95, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's almost 30 years ago.
yeah.
Sorry.
Couldn't be.
Hate
I
to
was only-
think of it that
I was
way,
only
but
50
yes.
then. No, I had to been at least 60 when they closed it. 20 years ago.
So let's not go
They
there.
had a 75th anniversary and they were open, what, like 1910 or something, so that gets you
Yeah.
at least to 1985.
Good.
After that, and this was built in 89, so they went on beyond that.
Mr. Chair, I believe we're at 3-4.
Huh?
3-4, train
3-4,
station
thank
museum
you.
bulletin board.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we skipped that.
Okay, so, yeah, so museum bulletin board. So we had talked about this a couple times. Anybody have any thoughts on where that's going? I know Tony had some ideas. He's not on, right? Okay,
Well, he just has that little one that he bought
yeah, but
and
that's,
stuck up there, which really is just a placeholder right now.
yeah,
You had found one, I think, that looked like like a scheduler for the stations. I don't know how adaptable that was, but I really like that one.
Was it the schedule for station, like a restaurant kind of, was it glass front? I'm very attached to glass front things.
It would have to be, if it wasn't, it would have to be made that way because it's got to weather the elements.
Right.
But it's just to allow people to walk up to the door and see when we're open.
Okay,
That's all it's for.
I'll find that again.
But we're looking for something that at least matches the,
yeah, we talked about
Train
making it
station
like the
theme.
schedule or the train schedule.
yeah,
Something
like,
like
like we used to write in, I guess, write in by chalk on a little chalkboard that had squares on it as to when the train was going to be there. Obviously, we don't want to be that informal about it, but something that looks like that
It
we can
looks like
stick
that
letters.
painted lettered, yeah.
Yeah, that would be what we're looking for.
And did I understand correctly that the gigantic bushes in front of the railing were coming out?
We'd like them to come out.
Yeah,
If
they-
not,
I mean, we need that, we
cut
need
way
that
down.
re-landscaping there in front of the railing. Mhm.
Okay, now, should I look into having those cut out? Did I have
Not
some
just
other
cut out, but pulled out and a new
completely
landscaping there.
removed?
Mhm.
Okay, that's a new business kind of thing, but if those bushes are gone, then there's a place for a bulletin board there? No?
Well, no, I think there should be new
Door
landscaping.
or maybe out by the gate was what we're trying to avoid or deal with is people complaining when they come that they come, we get the kids, they go to the car and they expect the station to be open and it's not. And they're like, well, when are you ever open? We don't know when you're open. And you tell them to look on the town schedule, but a lot of times it's a spur of the moment thing and they're just, they just want to be able to see when they get there, why they can't get into the building. So we're just want to put our opening times and dates at a place that's visible from the public.
Okay, I'll find what I sent and see if that's what you were looking for.
This is probably the wrong time to bring it up, but do we have any kind of update on the pollinator garden? We were looking at how much space it was gonna take in there in the front of the building and all.
That's been done. I think the pollinator garden has been put in.
It's in.
It's behind the, and it,
Okay.
there was some
Okay.
confusion around, would they be able to mow around it and stuff like that? And that's all been resolved.
Yep.
Okay, okay, all
I
right.
think it's all laid out in the ground and waiting for the spring thaw.
Yeah, I don't know if they
Great.
dug it up. Yeah.
Great.
Last time I was there, it was staked out. So if you go out on the
Uh-huh.
back deck of the museum, you can see where it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any more on the bulletin board? I think you got that one, right, Kelly? Okay. Some new business. We are going to be hosting a homeschooling group, a class trip. They're coming to the museum on the 24th. They're coming there at 11 o'clock. I will be there to host them, but I would love to have someone join me.
I can be there.
I don't need a million people, but if you can do it, Stuart, that'd be great.
You're gonna be-
They're gonna be there about an hour.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get there about 10:30 to open it up and make sure everything's ready, and it sounds like I gotta move the train.
We got to stick the signs back that are falling down.
Signs up, whatever's, yeah. So anyway, but I'm excited for that. I don't know how many kids are coming, but it's probably a decent sized group, and it should be fun.
Yeah, we did a group last year and and they really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do we have any of the little wind up trains left? Are they all gone?
Oh, yeah,
They're-
there's some.
yeah.
Do we have enough? Do we have a bunch?
I don't know how many boxes are unopened, but I think there were quite a few left in the basket.
Okay,
the last
good. So
time I
we can
saw.
give them out to the kids when they come. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or comments about that?
Well, we will have to get in there and do some
Yeah.
fixing up because the that double-sided tape is letting go all around now and more of this
Okay.
displays are sort of sliding down.
All right. Maybe we just, screw them in.
Yeah, we'll have to get some fishing line or something, hang them up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next item on the new business list here is a proposed donation of a front page of a newspaper, the Omaha Morning Bee, from November 10th, 1926, which this is an original front page, and I guess it featured the tornado stuff. And I think this was something that Tony brought forward. He's not here. Are you on, Tony?
I'm familiar with it. Oddly enough, I came across this very newspaper when Kelly, you had arranged for me to get the newspaper.com, and prior to that, I was just going online, seeing what I could find, and I found this Omaha Morning Bee that apparently was for sale at the time. I didn't realize it, but I just did a screen capture of it so I could read the article that was in it. It is kind of neat. It is an artifact, I guess, that does relate to the tornado and how it was reported across the country. It does have an article on the left side. It doesn't have like the banner headlines though, and it doesn't have the big photos of everything. It's just an interesting news article on the front page of this paper, but it's in really remarkable shape.
Already purchased it?
I think he's already purchased it.
And
Yeah.
wanted reimbursement, is that what it's
Well,
looking for?
So here's the thing.
I don't
So
know. I think he just wants to donate it.
Or you think he does?
He just wants to donate. That's fine. I mean, we
Oh,
didn't budget
donation.
for it. I don't even know how much he
Yeah,
spent on it.
proposed donation, okay.
This is cart got a little before the horse here a little bit, but if we think we can use it, I mean, it sounds like the kind of thing we could hang in that cubby by the desk in the museum if it would fit on the wall there.
Yeah, it's a neat piece if Tony has in mind that we're going to try to expand the tornado display at the museum. I don't know where we're going to expand it to because there just isn't any room. But it is a neat piece, and if we need to like swap maybe things in and out to kind of freshen up what's there, we might do that. But it's I kind of like the idea that it's there, or that it's available to us, because it is relevant and it is period and it is historic, and
Right.
it does show how a little newspaper in La Plata at one time wrote copy for an international news story, because that's the source of the information that the Omaha Beat was using.
It's replicated in numerous papers throughout the country.
Oh, it did. What I'm saying is that it got there from here. I mean, that the local people wrote that copy, and it was picked up by the wires and sent all over the place.
So you could find it.
All across the country. I found it in hundreds of papers. It's all over the country, and Canada and England and Australia, and
Wow.
it went all around the world.
Looks like a collage.
Yeah, if those are available for sale, it'd be kind of cool. But I'd love to get I'd love to get the original newspaper from Charles County, from either the Independent or the Times Crescent. And we've got the reproductions, but we don't have the original. Or just the local papers, even the Baltimore papers, the Washington papers. There's probably a dozen that covered it extensively that we need to have copies of those.
All right, here's what I'll propose. I propose, since Tony's not here, why don't we put this on the agenda for next meeting,
I agree with that.
and we'll come back to it. All right, then, next item on the agenda here, I can't read, it's cut off.
Cemetery news and signage proposal.
That's
I
another-
agree and think that should be tabled till the next meeting when Tony's here.
That one too? Okay. so it's out.
Cemetery news and
Yeah, okay.
signage proposal. I mean, wasn't that something he wanted to talk about?
Yeah, he wants to get commemorative plaques placed at the various cemeteries where the tornado victims are buried. And I think it's basically 3, well, maybe 4 if you want to include, there's one person at one cemetery. But I think he's looking at like the Episcopal cemetery and in town, and the Catholic cemetery in town, and then the
Methodist.
Chapel Point.
Chapel.
Point.
Oh,
And I guess the
Signage.
Methodist one too, but I'm not sure where those kids are buried.
Yeah.
They're not really in town.
All right, let's put that one on.
I
next
would
meeting,
table that
too.
till the
Yeah.
next meeting.
Okay. Any other new business that anybody would like to bring up before we move to matters of information?
Oh.
Okay.
Should I pursue the removal of those bushes?
Very much so, but
Or
not
remove
just,
them or tear them down?
but they need to be taken out and replaced with new shrubbery. Now, that shouldn't come out of any budget that we have. I mean, that should be under, I don't know where that falls under, but it's a problem maintaining those shrubberies. And we just need them taken out and replaced.
How resilient are those things to being chopped down to like stumps and allowed to grow back? Or
That I'm not sure. That I'm not sure. Those,
and then what's the condition also of the station behind?
I think when it comes to that landscaping there, and we ought to have somebody come in and look at that and discuss it and offer suggestions. But I don't know if that comes under historic preservation. I mean, that comes under maintenance of town properties or something, doesn't it?
I'm wondering if those bushes are actually detrimental to the condition of the
Railing.
and the railing around them. That's where I'm going with it.
All right, so can we get, Kelly, could you dig into who owns this and what potential options there are for our next meeting?
Who oversees the landscaping within the town and replacement of shrubs when it needs it? And I don't know who that all comes under.
And beautification.
Under beautification, I mean, there's a lot of people. It could be facilities. Donnie might be one. Public Works can also be one because it is a park. Beautification would obviously recommend some kind of native planting. So.
Yeah,
um,
we need those out of there, and we need something that's going to be easier to maintain, and it's not quite as fast growing.
Does it make sense then to have them remove everything now and just level it and then come spring? Which is right around the corner, but then instead of trying to do it all at once, do it in stages. Remove it, level it, flatten it, and then come in once we get a plan for planting whatever new shrubs somebody suggests or native plants, et cetera, et cetera. But,
Yeah.
It kind of gives you a clean slate and you're doing it in stages, so it's less cumbersome to everybody.
If they're going to do it, it should be done before we open up in the end of,
We may find that
April.
there might be some woodwork to do behind it.
yeah.
Correct.
It could be a very good March project.
And does the Historic Preservation Commission have any preferences on what kind of things would be planted there?
As long as it
I would be
doesn't
open to discussing it, but.
grow up into the building and cause trouble and impede the.
Ease
access
of
that ramp.
maintenance.
So
Ease of
yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like the idea of tearing it all out.
Mhm.
We could turn it into grass for the short term. And then we can look at alternatives for the replacement.
Mhm.
Okay. I will look
Gives you
into that.
time to see who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we had a number of proposals
out
for
of your
people to
budget,
donate
Councilman
things.
Winkler.
We could put in those spaces too.
All right. Cool. Any other new business?
Historic preservation budget reports.
That's
Oh,
kind
Council,
of, we're
excuse
in
me.
I was looking for new business
Excuse me,
first. Anybody else have any other new business? Okay, hearing none, we can go to matters of information. So, Councilman Winkler, I don't know, put you on the spot. Is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Not at the moment. Apologize again for not being there in person, but I think there's a lot of things on the horizon that's going to be keep us very busy in the next year, 18 months.
Okay. Patty, is there anything you want to add?
She must be muted. But she can hear us. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think she is. It looks like she's muted.
Okay. All right. Historic preservation budget reports. Kelly, so that's over to you. I appreciated you explaining to me how to read the damn thing. So thank you for that.
I wish I was in on that one.
No, I read it wrong. I thought we had spent all our money. The reality is we haven't spent hardly any.
No, we haven't spent much money. I know that
No.
much.
In fiscal year 2023 and fiscal year 2024. Fiscal year 24, obviously, so you can see how much you've spent, which is on the description, it says Linda Desk, KLPD, and HPC supplies. That's just how the entire collective has got reported. You only got charged for the HPC supplies. The other things went into different parts of the budget. So $31.99, I think, was a reimbursement to Tony for something.
Okay.
Probably.
And so that's it. So as far as, do you have enough money to pay for that bronze plaque? Definitely.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the reason I left fiscal year 2023 on there as well was so that you could see what had been accounted for. And it looked like the Christchurch plaque was the one before this one,
Mhm.
and that was in the previous fiscal year.
Yes, it was.
So it didn't turn up on 2023. So.
So how much did we spend in 23?
23, you spent 1,710.
Yipes. Okay. So when is the 23 year over, fiscal year over? I don't know what it's over.
Yes, and then once the fiscal year is over, whatever's remaining in your budget goes back into general fund. It doesn't roll over into, you don't get.
That's okay. And so we'll learn for next year. We can do better. So, but for this year now, for 24, we have, I can't read it very well. How much is left?
$4,968.
Minus 560 or whatever, 600 we just spent on the plaque. right?
Yes, obligated,
Okay.
but
All right,
not
good.
spent, yes.
All right. We're healthy as far as budget goes.
Sorry, I didn't have my microphone on. Were there any questions? Do I need to go over that again? I didn't have my microphone on. Jane, you're good? Okay, Councilman?
No, I could hear. We
Okay,
could hear.
great.
It's Patty Mudd. I'm unmuted. Have finally figured out how to unmute myself on this phone. I'm sorry to not be there, but anyway, I'll get to that later. The trains, the little wind up trains. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The little wind up trains. Bob and I, we emptied all of those boxes into the basket on the shop small day, and we gave out all of those trains that we had in the boxes there. So it would be a great idea to reorder them, Kelly, maybe for shop for celebrate La Plata Day or one of those special holidays to order more trains. Do you think?
Just stepped away. Okay.
I don't know.
We need more. If I wanted to have them for the 24th, we would need to get them quickly.
I thought they were still.
Yeah, we can't get. I know she can't get them by the 24th, but for the April thing and for the other things that there'll be kids at.
Yeah, next
Just get her to make a new order of the trades.
Okay.
She knows what. I think that's all. Yeah. Other than by. I don't know. I guess I'm just really in a depressed today because I wasn't able to even find out if this meeting was going on until the email from Rich at like 12:30. There is nothing on the town website, the new town website that I don't know how to use, but there is nothing on there saying that anything is canceled. I did get something. I did know that there's the only notice on the town website is that the town hall is opening, at 2 hours late or something. I don't know. I'm sure it's just my 84 years mind and everything else, but I don't know how to manipulate the website at all. And so I'm on my phone now, and I also can't download the Teams on my iPad either. It just says downloading, and it won't get on here either. So anyway, that's another subject that really, you guys don't need to hear.
Yeah, I'll take some of the blame for this. We had the meeting scheduled for a long time, but didn't know which way to go because of the weather. And we came up with the idea for this hybrid meeting, and Kelly put the notification out for that just yesterday. And then I put the, reply to everybody that we were still on today because we didn't know till today what the weather would really be. So that's kind of how that happened. And I didn't want to just cancel it because it's so hard to get everybody together. So that's why we did what we did. So my apologies for if you didn't see it quickly enough. I didn't want that to happen. That's for sure. And I'm worried about Tony because he obviously didn't get the link either. And I know he was very interested in this meeting. So
right.
I'll catch up to him as well.
I mean, I probably would have been there if I had seen that email before, at 12:30. I probably would have been up there, but I didn't even open that until later.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then getting on there. I'm on my phone now, but I have the iPad right in front of me, and it just says downloading. It will not download from the. But it came up a couple of other times with when I talked to them about this website. But anyway, no problem. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea to take a great idea to pull those bushes out, Mary Beth. I really, really, really agree with that. So anyway, okay. Talk to
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, just for the record, the camera has gone on bluey, so,
I broke
mhm.
it.
Now we see our
Okay.
two virtual members in
Sorry, we see
life
our members
size,
here
greater
now.
than life size now.
So what do you guys see? Do you guys see anything?
Just a
No,
blank,
Just some symbol or something.
Yeah, we were seeing that for a while too. It's, the
Yeah.
camera's gone la la land on us.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, there's not much. We're just about finished anyway. Is there,
do you want the agenda pulled up?
no, don't worry about it now.
We've come to the
We're
end.
coming to the
Okay.
last item anyway, which is adjourn. Is there anybody else that has anything to add before, make a motion to adjourn?
When will the next meeting be scheduled for?
Well, we're looking at 2 months.
March 15th
March 15th,
at 1 PM.
1 PM.
Okay. Does that work for everybody?
So far,
Mhm.
as far as I know.
Okay. At 1 PM.
Could I ask Patty could I ask Mary Beth something real quick? You were gonna save a history book for me. Can I just pick that up from your house, or can Kelly leave it at the desk or something so I can get that?
We'll leave it right here at the desk with Kelly.
Okay, great.
I
I'll
have
pick it up
I have it.
in a couple days. Okay, great.
All right. The rest of them are going to go to the museum.
How is our
Okay.
supply? Where are we?
There are only about 20 left, did
Yep.
you say? I'm sure the Weremu family has plenty more we could purchase,
So, okay.
but we'll get to that when we need them.
Okay.
Kelly, while you were out, we were talking about the toy trains. Apparently we are out of them. So if we can get another order. I don't know if you can get them so fast for the 24th, but we need them anyway.
Yeah, as fast as we
Okay.
can get them.
In the same amount as last time?
I guess, I don't even know what we ordered the last
Yeah,
time.
that's why I'm
Probably
like,
100.
See, we ran out on the last event, so I guess it's about right.
Yeah.
Whatever it was before.
that expense will also come out of
Mhm.
historic.
Okay. Any other business? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that emotion.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye.
Hi,
All right. We will do it in person in 2 months.
right.
Looking forward to it.
unless we get a March snowstorm.
Unless we get another snowstorm. I'm optimistic. I'll be thinking spring training by then. Okay.
All right.
All right, folks. Everybody have a great day.
Good meeting.
Thank you very
Great,
much.
thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Please let me know if there's anything I can do.
Absolutely.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It's it's
Coca-Cola.
on my list.
Okay.
All right.
Bring me a new bottling plant.
They might be interested in just using that.